Beruchim Abayim, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bet Gabriel Community Center, where tonight Chazaq, Baruch Hashem, once again has the honor and the privilege to host renowned lecturer Rabbi Eliyahu Bergstein. Tonight's event is dedicated Li'ilu Nishmat Aish Ksheran Nekadam Bat Zirbal Ruach Hashem Ben Nechem Ben Gan Eden. Amen. Morav Rabotai, before we begin tonight's evening, just a few quick and important announcements regarding upcoming events and programs. I'll start off by saying that we all know that Tuesday night we have the holiday of Shabbat. The Bet Gabriel Center will be having an all-night learning program. Everyone is welcome to that. A week from tonight, Chazaq will be hosting world-renowned lecture Rabbi Mordechai Becher. That will be at Congregation Ahavas Yisrael. That's in Kew Arden Hills, Rabbi Welcher Shul. Men and women are welcome. That's at 8:30 p.m. Please come spread the word to all your friends. The following Monday, and make that every Monday besides for tomorrow, since it's Erev Shavuot, Chazaq has the women's classes right over here in the back rooms for ladies only, obviously. The schedule is as follows. June 9th, we're going to be having Pearl Abramowitz on parenting. June 16th, we're going to be having Rebbetzin Gitti Margaretin. The following Monday, we're going to be having the one and only Jackie Biton from Ornava. And the week after, we're going to be having Rebbetzin Devar Kigel. So ladies, every Monday, you know where to be. It's over here. Spread the word. Tell all the ladies, you know, Baruch Hashem, we have nice turnouts, but we're always looking for more people. I'm sorry?
Jackie Biton
is June 23rd, I believe. So, Bezat Hashem, spread the word for that. With regards to new Chazaq, actually one more community announcement is that on Tuesday, June 11th, Rabbi Ribikov will be having his table for two. That's right over here. David Gabe will be doing the entertainment. There's going to be a dinner. There is a fee for that, I think $120 per couple. That's going to be at the Bet Gabriel Center, June 11th. For more information about all these announcements, you can see the regular Chazaq Parsha papers, which are throughout the building. Programs. So, a lot going on, Baruch Hashem. We just moved to a new office, 10 times the size of our old one, so everyone is telling us that if you guys did so much in a box, how much more will you do in this new place? But Bezat Hashem, we're going to do much more. So one of the new things that we have over there is a studio that we built for our radio program, the Chazaq Radio. It's a brand new program that we have. Baruch Hashem, it's going very well. Right now, if you go on it, chazaqradio.com, you're going to hear music. Great music, interesting, lively, entertaining, fun. And we encourage everyone to enjoy that. But on Thursday nights, we have lectures, shows by various different speakers, including Rabbi Schaefer from the Shmuz and Rabbi Bregman on the Parsha and a few other things. So we're trying to build as many shows as possible. If anyone is interested or knows anyone that would be good at making a show, please let me know. That's chazaqradio.com, online for now. My goal, Emir Hashem Yitbarach, with God's help, is to have the radio on air throughout the city. So people, when they're driving, they can listen on a certain dial, whatever it is. If 613 FM is available, we'll probably take that. Whatever works, Emir Hashem, we'll try to do. Aside from that, our goal is to create the Chazaq Radio into a Chazaq TV as well, where you're going to have live shows with, instead of going to the secular sources for news, you can come to us and a few other great ideas. So stay in the loop and visit us online, chazaqradio.com. TD Bank has joined Chazaq actually at a new program. What it is that whoever opens up an account will receive $25 and the organization will be getting a donation of $50. So whoever needs a bank account, if anyone knows anyone that needs a bank account, please go to the local TD Bank and tell them that you want to join the affinity program, which will have Chazaq a part of, get a small donation out of that. And if for whatever reason you already have an account and you are with TD Bank, you can connect your account with Chazaq, and at the end of the year, 0.1% will go towards Chazaq, whatever is in your bank. So if you have like $1 billion, you'll definitely benefit from that. I could go on and on with the magazine, and the Parsha papers, and the Teens Division, and the learning programs, and the morning learning programs, and a few other things. But I just want to end off by saying that tonight's event wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for a certain member in the community who approached me and said that they want to do a shiur in memory of someone. And actually the last few events that we've had have been in the result of that. And all I'm trying to say is that many people, when they have an askara yurt site, they try to, they rent out halls and they do all this askarot and yeshuos and all this stuff. And many times it's instead of it being an aliyah neshama for the niftar, it's aliyah for the guf, for the people in the crowd, because they eat so much. What I'm trying to say is that I think the best way to have an aliyah neshama for someone that passed away, I think a great way is having a shiur. That besides for the impact of people in the crowd, it just goes on and on online, and then sometimes we make CDs and we have it on the radio now, and it just goes on and on forever. So I really believe that a shiur that inspires people is a great way to use your maaser money as well. And if it's not Lilu Nishma, you could do it for the Rafah Shlema of someone. And if it's not for the Rafah Shlema, it could be for the Zchut of a Zivug, or for children, for a match, for whatever it could be. So please come see us. We have many events coming up. We want to do more events, and Be'ezrat Hashem, with Hashem's help, we will do it. So without further ado, it's my honor, my privilege, and my zchut to call upon, I guess, my very good friend, Rabbi Eliyahu Bergstein. Round of applause, please. Sorry for taking so long.
No, it's fine. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bet Gavriel, to tonight's program. My name is Rabbi Eliyahu Bergstein. I've been here, Baruch Hashem, before. In fact, I've mentioned many times before that as a little kid, I went to yeshiva, actually, in this neighborhood in the 1950s. So a little few years ago, but Baruch Hashem. I'm very glad to be back with Chazaq. Chazaq is always a pleasure to come to and to speak for. And I'd also like to mention that the Chazaq radio will have this shiur on it, and it'll get then to a wider audience even than everybody who's sitting here. And Be'ezrat Hashem, it'll be Yafutzu, and the Torah will be Nisparse more and more. The class I am teaching tonight has two titles. One title is Shabbos, how high can it take us? And you're getting the alternate title. Shabbat, how high can it take us? You know, just it depends if it's an Ashkenazic crowd or a Sephardic or Bukharian, you know. So I just changed the first word from Shabbos to Shabbat. And then everything fits into place perfectly. So we're here tonight for Shabbat. How high can it take us? And I'd like to start with a story that I find always interesting. There was somebody going up to the mountains. We're about to go to the country. Soon is going to start the season for going up to the country. And the story goes that there was somebody going up to the country and pulled over by the police actually for going too slowly. Usually, the police stop you for going too fast. They were actually pulled over for going too slowly. And the police officer says to him, what's this? Why are you going so slowly? And the policeman looks in the back seat, and there's 3 passengers in the back seat, and they look completely and totally dazed, like they're off a roller coaster or something. And he says, officer, why are you stopping me? I'm just doing what the sign says. The sign says 17. So, that's a very low speed limit. And the officer says to him, that's not the speed sign. That's the route sign. You're on Route 17. Oh, that explains it. I just got off of I-87. Whoa, was that something? You got to know how to read the sign. Everyone here is aware that Shabbat, is one of the 3 mitzvahs that's called Oti, Os. It's a sign. The other 2 mitzvahs are Tefillin and Brit Milah. Shabbos is one of the mitzvahs that's called a sign. What's the significance of it being a sign more than another mitzvah? The special significance of a sign is if you go down 108th Street and you go into the dry cleaners and you have your clothing to bring into the cleaners and you come to the door and the door is locked and there's a little note, out to lunch. Okay, I'll come back another time, I'll come back later. You forget, you come back a week later, door's still locked. There's another little note there. On vacation, we'll be back this and this date. Okay. You come back a week later, after the vacation date, the door's still locked. But this time, there's no little note. Lunch, vacation, nothing. And you're looking, you step back and you notice, the place is dark inside. There's no clothing inside. There's no machinery inside. And the big sign on top of the store that used to say magic clean, it's magic if it gets clean, is gone. At this point they're not out to lunch, they're not on vacation, the place is closed. It's permanent. Sometimes it could happen that a person is out to vacation for a particular mitzvah. You missed something. You skipped something. Something not perfect. Okay, we'll do tshuva, it'll be fine. But when Shabbat disappears, that's the sign. That's the sign that it's a Jew's home. If Shabbat disappears and Shabbat becomes like Wednesday, chas v'shalom, God forbid, then the sign is gone. And ultimately the connection to Judaism ends up being lost. What is Shabbat? What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to feel? Well, the Ben Ish Chai, who I'm sure everyone here has heard of, the Ben Ish Chai actually says you can understand Shabbat from a little cute story. The story goes like this. There was a king. The king had a songbird that the king captured. The songbird sang beautiful songs. The king put the songbird in a cage, a golden cage, and the golden cage was placed right by the window where the sunlight would shine in. And the king was so happy with this bird, and the bird would sing, and the veterinarians would come in, and they would change the water and give the bird food, and everything would be just perfect and fine. And the bird sang beautifully. And all the other birds were tremendously jealous of the songbird because, look, the songbird has everything. The songbird's being taken care of, fed, everything perfect. And the songbird says to the other birds, don't be so jealous of me. What I have is no good at all. You know what I have? A golden cage. It's gold, but it's a cage. I'm imprisoned. I'd rather be out in the mountains. I'd rather be out in the cold, in the rain, taking my chances with the elements and be free rather than be here in the cage. And the other birds hear it and they say, well, how can we help you? And the songbird says, you know how you can help me? My sister lives out in the forest. Go out to the forest, find my sister, tell my sister my problem, and ask my sister what to do and come back and tell me. The birds fly away, we'll come back, we'll let you know. They fly off, they find the sister bird out there, they tell the sister bird, and as soon as the sister bird hears this, the sister bird closes her eyes, falls down. Apparently the shock and trauma of hearing that her sister, the songbird, was captured was, yitgadal v'yitgadash. That was it. What are the birds going to do now? They promised to fly back. They fly back, they come into the songbird's room, songbird's in the cage. They say to the songbird, "Oi, what can we tell you? We found your sister, we told her your predicament, and your sister just closed her eyes and shuddered and fell on the floor, on the ground, apparently dead. Sorry." That night, the songbird didn't sing, the songbird didn't eat, the songbird literally just sat on her stoop in the cage listlessly. The veterinarians changed the water, they examined the bird, nothing. Next morning, the servants of the king come in. The bird is lying dead at the bottom of the cage. What do you do with a dead bird? They pick up the cage, they go over to the window, open up the cage, shake out the bird starts dropping lifelessly from the third floor window down toward the ground, and just before the bird hits the ground, the bird opens her eyes, flaps her wings, and flies off singing the beautiful song, the best song of her life. You know what happened? The songbird understood that her sister is giving her a non-verbal communication. What's your problem? Play dead. The songbird sister showed her, just drop down on the floor. The songbird understood what the sister was telling her. Play dead, they'll kick you out of the cage. And that's what she did. That's what the first step in Shabbos is. We are all in the cage. We have time frames. We have to get up at a certain time, go to work, this chore, this responsibility, that responsibility. It's gold sometimes. We earn a lot of money. But sometimes it's restrictive like a cage. How do you get out of the cage? Comes Shabbat, you're out. Play dead. No cell phone, no BlackBerry, no Strawberry, no email, no nothing. It's all finished. Goodbye. The dead people don't answer the cell phones. Finished. In fact, that's why they call it a cell phone. You're in a cell all week with your phone. The phone rings, you answer. Who's boss? You or the phone? Phone's the boss. Even if you're standing talking to somebody, the phone rings. Oh, just a minute. I got to answer. Well, what? You're talking to them? No, the cell. I'm in the cell. Shabbos, no cell. Goodbye. That's why the Baal Shem Tov says, the Talmud says, Meis be'erev Shabbos siman yofa, somebody dies on Friday, it's a good sign. Can you control when you die? It means if you play dead, if when it comes Friday afternoon before Shabbos, now is finished. The bank, the business, the mail, the phones, the emails, my jobs, all these things, it'll all be there after Shabbos, and now is Shabbos. People sometimes want to find a vacation destination. They'll pay who knows how much to get there, where they'll be away from their office and their chores and their cell and their emails and their same times and whatever else, Lotus and Microsoft and whatever else they're into. And all you have to do is tell them there's no problem. There's a place you can go and it won't cost any airfare. Shabbos. And that's it. Now, I'm pretty sure that everyone here knows this already. Maybe I brought it out in a way that helps us focus on it, but we all know this. Hey, Shabbos, Yom Menucha, it's a day of rest. It's just great. Can't be better. But there's a higher level in Shabbat also. A higher level for people like us, Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be able to understand a drop higher. And that is a different section in the Talmud. The Talmud says an interesting thing. If a person takes wide steps, they lose some of the illumination of their eye. I guess their eyesight, if you want to translate it. The exact words is, Psia gasa, wide steps, noteles echad mechamesh me'os me'ma'or einav shalodam. Wide steps, fast steps, take away 1/500th of ma'or einav, of the loosely translated illumination of the eye or the eyesight of a person. Anybody here an optometrist? Ophthalmologist? No? Okay, so no problem. That's what it is, right? Even more odd is the Talmud's cure for the eyesight loss. The Talmud's cure is that you get it back b'kiddusha devei shimsha. You get it back when you make kiddush Friday night on your cup of wine. How's that? When I look at the cup of wine, it somehow returns my eyesight? What's going on? This Talmud must have something behind it more than what meets the eye. No pun intended. What's going on? I think that what the Talmud means is the following. It's not you lose your eyesight. Wide steps, that means I'm really moving, I'm striding, I'm kicking up a storm, I'm doing, I'm creating, takes away 1/500th of your focus. You start thinking that it's me doing things, and you stop thinking it's Hashem doing it. Sometimes in my spare time, my regular job, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I do interviews. And I get a resume. And the resume is going to say, engineer, implemented, designed, created, built. Oh, what did they really do? They built a sukkah in Russia. Put up a sukkah. But these words, the resume words, created, implemented, conceived, designed, sometimes it goes to a person's head. I'm doing, I'm accomplishing, I'm striding ahead, I'm kicking up a storm, Oh, you're losing your whole focus. You forgot Hashem's running the world. Without Hashem giving you the brains, the energy, the understanding, the stamina, you'd be nothing. You'd be nothing. Zero. Piece of meat, literally. Friday night comes, and you're holding that becher, that cup of wine. And now, there's no striding, no creating, no conceiving, no designing, no developing, no fast steps. Oh, it's a refocus. When I'm looking at that becher, that cup of wine, and I'm there by the Kiddush Friday night, I'm realizing, that was a 6-day illusion. This is reality. This is bringing me back to the reality that Hashem is giving me the feeling during the 6 days and the ability to have the impression that I'm doing something. But when I get back to refocus, then I see there's really not me, it's really Hashem. That's already a higher level in Shabbos. That's the higher level. First level is, I'm going to rest. What a rest. No cell phone, no communication, no bank, no work, no mail, no email. Wow, great menucha, rest, terrific. That itself is worth everything. But here it's a level higher. Here it's a spiritual chiropractic experience of a realignment and a refocus. Without this, I'm just a human doing. This brings me back to be a human being. Doing is I'm doing. Being is I'm a state of existence, being in a state of being. A whole week I'm a human doing. Comes Shabbos, I'm a human being. Guess what? There's a higher level in Shabbos even than that. And the next level in Shabbos is so much higher than the first two that it doesn't even compare to it. And I'm saying it to you, and I've said it to other audiences of a similar stature. It's not something I would say to an entry-level audience because they're not up to hearing this yet. But, audiences of this nature, I know I'm okay with the third level, and it's something to know for yourself, and you never know when you do some kiruv or something when it'll come useful for others too. And that level is shown to us in the Gemara in a few places. One of the places is in Tractate Shabbat, I think it's about Daf Lamed Gimel or so, with a story that most people know part of the story. The story in the Gemara is there were 3 rabbis walking in the land of Israel in Roman times during the Roman occupation. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon. They were discussing the occupation of the Romans of the land of Israel. One said nice things about them, one was quiet, and Rabbi Shimon said negative about them. They're in it for themselves, they're building bridges to collect tolls, they're making marketplaces for their taxes, it's not for us, it's all for them. Somebody overheard the conversation, went and told the government, Rabbi Shimon is talking bad about you. Well, maybe in the United States you can get away with that. But you couldn't get away with it in Roman-occupied Eretz Yisrael. And there was a warrant issued for the arrest of Rabbi Shimon. This is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the famous Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And they wanted to execute him. There's you say the wrong thing, you're executed. He ran away with his son, Rabbi Elazar. They hid in a synagogue. After a while, they thought it wasn't safe. They went up north and they hid in a cave near Meron and Pekian. And they lived in the cave, hiding for 12 years, existing, subsisting on the baktzar tree and water that was there, and living a spiritual life and spending their time studying Torah, studying various aspects of the Torah, Chumash, Gemara, Kabbalah, whatever they were learning. And they were in this spiritual cocoon for 12 years. What happened? After 12 years, they heard a bas kol, a heavenly voice said, you can come out of the cave now. They forgot about you. They're not looking for you anymore. The Roman government is not concerned with you anymore. 12 years they walk out. They're so spiritually elevated. Wow. And they see Jewish people plowing, planting, harvesting, and they're looking. Look at these people. Instead of being busy with Olam Haba, instead of being busy with spiritual things, they're busy with planting and plowing. Chaye Shah, temporary existence, instead of a permanent existence. They couldn't understand it. They're staring at this and they can't believe it. And the Talmud says their holy eyes looked at the crops that were growing and they burned them up with their holy eyes. I don't know if burned it up means they actually physically burned them, or they put in some type of like a ayin hara, which caused a negative effect on these crops. Either way, they're destroying everything. Bat kol, and a heavenly voice comes thundering down. Back to the cave. Rabotai, gentlemen, back to the cave. Decompress. Despiritualize, come back down. You can't do this. You're destroying the world. They go back into the cave. They spend another 12 months, 1 year in the cave. At this point, they've already gotten back to the idea, there's this world. They have to, live in a normal existence. And they come out of the cave. And Rabbi Shimon, he understands people plow, people harvest. It's all normal, fine and good. His son, Rabbi Elazar, is still all cooked up. And everywhere Rabbi Elazar looks, he burns up the crops. And when Rabbi Shimon sees that, he extinguishes the crops with his holy eyes. Rabbi Elazar, with his eyes, he burns the crops, he ignites them. And Rabbi Shimon, with his eyes, extinguishes the fire. Arsonist fireman, arsonist fireman. Till when? Till Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, right before Shabbos, the Talmud says they're walking in the fields, and an old man runs by holding 2 myrtle branches, 2 hadassim. And it's right before Shabbat. And Rabbi Shimon stops him and he says to him, mister, you're running, an old man like you running, where are you running? It's almost Shabbat. And what are you doing with the 2 myrtle branches? What do you mean, the 2 myrtle branches? L'chvod Shabbat, in honor of Shabbos. And Rabbi Shimon looks at him and he says, for you, wouldn't 1 myrtle branch be enough? What do you need 2 for? Wouldn't 1 be enough? And the old man says to Rabbi Shimon, no. 1 is for Zachor and 1 is for Shamor. The Aseres HaDibros, the 10 Commandments, is written twice in the Torah, once in Shmos and once in Devarim. One place it says, Zochor es Yom HaShabbos, remember the Shabbos. One place it says, Shomer es Yom HaShabbos, safeguard the Shabbos. Hashem, God, said them simultaneously. In honor of these 2 words describing Shabbos, Zochor and Shamor, remember and safeguard, I have 2 myrtle branches. Rabbi Shimon hears that. He turns to his son, Rabbi Elazar, and he says to him, Elazar, look what the Jews are doing with the things you're burning up. The crops. Look what this man is doing with those hadassim, those myrtle branches that are growing, that you're burning. Rabbi Elazar calmed down. He understood. Look at that. No more problem. End of the story in the Talmud. Nice story, wonderful, uplifting, very good. The Ben Ish Chai, the Ben Yehoyada, asks 2 questions. Number 1, why does the Talmud mention that it's an old man? Who cares? Talmud says an old man ran by. What's the difference what his age is? Second question, Rabbi Shimon says to him, what do you need them for? He says in honor of Shabbat. Why didn't Rabbi Shimon at that point turn to his son and say, look what they're doing in honor of Shabbat? He didn't. He asked the second question, why did he need two? Wouldn't one be enough for you? And when the man answered, oh, I need two, one is for Zachar, one is for Shamar, because that's a different kind of thing, then he turned to his son. Why? Says the Ben Yehoyada that when Rabbi Shimon first saw him going, he thought the following. Everyone knows that lighting the Shabbos candles is meritorious to have good children. Harogil Bener, another nusach is Hazohir Bener, somebody who is careful and regular to light their Shabbos candles, they will merit having good children. I hold that even is more than that, because they're also somebody's child. They merit to be good themselves too. It's a good thing. Whatever it is, it's good. Candle lighting. That's right in the Talmud. The Kabbalah says also that myrtle branches are also meritorious for good children. Rabbi Shimon sees this man, and he sees him running with the myrtle branches, and he's looking, he's an old man. His children, they must be 50 years old already. Whatever they are, they are. He can run all he wants home with all the myrtle branches he wants. It's not going to change his children anymore. You know, he should have ran with the myrtle branches when his kids were 5. What's he going to do now? His kids, he looks like he's about 90. His kids must be 60 already. What's too late, no? So he says to him, listen, wouldn't one be enough for you? And the man understood what Rabbi Shimon means. And the man said, this isn't about me. This isn't about my children. This isn't so I should have good children. This is above that. This is in honor of Shabbos. Zachor v'shamor. Safeguard and remember the Shabbos. This isn't for my personal benefit. This is for Hashem's Shabbat. Basically what was going on here is Rabbi Shimon thought this man is doing Shabbat on level 1 or level 2. Level 1 is, I relax on Shabbos. Whoa, wonderful, I'm all relaxed. Level 2 is, I had a chance to refocus. The common thing of those two levels are, it's for me. My rest, my refocus, my refreshment, my rejuvenation, my spiritual improvement. The third level is, not for me. It's for Hashem. It's purely for Hashem. That's what this man was telling Rabbi Shimon. I'm doing it for Hashem. I'm doing it just in honor of Hashem. Level 3. That's when Rabbi Shimon turns to his son and he says, look how they're celebrating the Shabbos. I'll give you one more example. There's a bunch more, but I'll just give you one more example. We'll pick one here. The Talmud says, anybody who delights in the Shabbos, all the wishes of his or her heart are granted. Delights in the Shabbos doesn't mean delights in their stomach and their gastronomical enjoyment of Shabbos. It's delights in the Shabbos itself. And the Talmud actually has a story, and the story is the following. The Talmud asks, how do you become rich? Talmud answers, become rich, give ma'aser. Aser b'shvil shetis asher. If you give 1/10 of your produce, you'll become rich. The Talmud says, that's fine if I have a farm. If I have fields. If I'm a farmer, I can give 1/10 of my produce. What happens if I'm not a farmer? I don't live even in the land of Israel. I'm outside, I'm in Bavel, in Babylonia in those times. Talmud says, well, there's still a way to get rich. If you honor Torah scholars. Fine. That's if I live in Bavel, or in Forest Hills, or in Kew Gardens Hills, or in Muncie, or Borough Park, or Lakewood, or someplace like that. I'm not trying to leave anybody out. But what happens if I live in, who knows where, in Middle America somewhere, in a real, far out place, and there just aren't any Talmudic scholars in this, small town in who knows where? What do you do? So the Talmud says even there's a way to get rich. If you're ma'aneg es HaShabbos, if you make the Shabbos a delight. And the Talmud tells a story of such a person. The Talmud says, Rabbi Eliyahu Bergstein once was a guest in Ludkia, and he came for Shabbos, and he stayed in a certain house, and Friday night they came after the davening, after the tefillah to the house, and they came into a room maybe as big as this room, and there were chairs all over, but there was no table. And all of a sudden, as everybody's sitting on the chairs, 16 big, strong men open the kitchen door and carry out this huge, gigantic table full of Shabbos delights and all kinds of delicacies with design, more than any Viennese table in the biggest wedding anywhere. And they put it down in the middle of the room. And the host, the owner of the house, says, Lashem ha'aretz u'maloah, everything belongs to Hashem. And Rabbi Eliyahu Bergstein, who was there, the guest, says to him, evidently you're very, very wealthy. How did you become so wealthy? What's your profession? He says, I'm a butcher. Okay, you can still change careers. I'm a butcher. And when I see a good cut of meat, I put it away for Shabbos. I don't know if he meant he puts it away to sell to somebody specifically for Shabbos, or he means that he puts it away for himself to have for Shabbos. Either way, that's designated for Shabbos. End of story in the Talmud. The Maharsha says there's more to the story. Nobody ate from that table. They brought out that huge table. In Talmudic times, they didn't eat from a big table. Everybody had their own tray tables, small tray tables. That's why on Pesach it says Misalkin es hashulchan. Before Manishtana it says remove the table, because they used to have the matzah on a little tiny table. What we do is we can't remove our tables because we have huge tables. We cover the matzah before the Manishtana, so it's not there; it's covered. But in the old times they would pick up the little tray table with the matzahs because all they're eating was on tray tables. When they brought out that big table, the 16 big giant guys carrying the table, and the host said, Lashem ha'aretz u'maloah, everything belongs to Hashem, they picked up the table, brought it back into the kitchen, and served on small tray tables from the table that was in the kitchen. So what was the point of bringing it out all together? The point of bringing it out all together was that higher level in Shabbos, in honor of Shabbos. Nothing to do with anybody's gastronomical enjoyment, because nobody touched the table. That's the highest level. That's Shabbos because I'm connected to Shabbos. Oh, by the way, I get refocused on Shabbos? Wonderful. Oh, by the way, I rest on Shabbos? Wonderful. I'm refreshed? Wonderful. I have a wonderful, relaxing experience? Great. But if I have that higher thing, that's even a higher connection to Hashem. The Talmud actually debates for the ultimate redemption of the Jewish people, how many Shabbosim do we need? Do we need one? Do we need two? There's a Talmud Yerushalmi, there's a Talmud Bavli. One says if the Jews would observe one Shabbos, they'd be redeemed. The other Talmud says if the Jews would observe 2 Shabbosim, they'd be redeemed. Well, what is it? One is it 2? You know. The Slonim Rebbe says the concept of one Shabbos means if I would observe one Shabbos, meaning if I would observe this Shabbos as if it is the one and only Shabbos that ever existed in creation from the beginning to the end, then Mashiach would come. What does that mean? When you get a mitzvah that comes once in a while, you get all excited about it. Rosh Hashanah, they're going to blow the shofar. Oh, everybody's standing there. Whoa! If they blow the shofar every day, we'd get used to it. Birkas Hachama, the blessing on the sun. If you remember it a few years ago, it occurs once in 28 years. Nobody missed it. Oh, 28 years. Something comes so rarely, you get all excited. Shabbat comes every week, so no excitement. Ilmola Shomer Yisrael Shabbos Achos. If the Jews would observe the Shabbos as if this is the one and only Shabbos, how would you observe that Shabbos? Whoa! I'd be in the synagogue in time. I would sing all this miras. The candle lighting would be beautiful, wonderful. We would dance. We would learn. We would say Tehillim. It would be. Oh, that's the kind of Shabbos. But what do we do anyway about this one Shabbos and two Shabbosim? So there's a lot of answers. Some answer it really means one Shabbos. But it means the two parts of the Shabbos. One Talmud says 24-hour Shabbos. The other Talmud means the two pieces of Shabbos. The Friday night section of the Shabbos and the Shabbos day section of the Shabbos. So Beis Shabbosos means the Friday night part and the Shabbos day part. So they're both saying the same thing. They're just using different terminology for 24 hours. Okay. Others say that Shabbat can be translated as the seventh day, or it can be translated as a 7-day period. This right now we're very, very familiar with, because when we count Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer, which we're up to tonight, already 48, we're holding right by Shavuos, we say the Sfirat HaOmer, based on the Pasuk, on the verse in the Torah, Sheva Shabbosos Temimos, 7 complete weeks. Look at the word, Sheva Shabbosos, or in Sfardi, Sheva Shabbatot. Sheva Shabbatot. What do you mean Sheva Shabbatot? 7 Shabboses? No, 7 weeks. The word Shabbat can mean the 7th day, or it can mean a full 7-day period, Sheva Shabbatot. If that's the case, then the translation of the Jews observing 2 Shabbosim means the weekdays and the Shabbos. Because if you rob the bank on Friday morning while eating a cheeseburger, and then you want to come to shul Friday night and feel very holy, it's not going to happen. If you mess up the week and a whole week you're not anywhere close to any kind of observance and Torah and mitzvot and everything, so you can't just dance into the Shabbat. Ilmola Yisrael Shamru Bei Shabbosos. If the Jews would observe 2 Shabbos, their weekdays would be a weekdays worthy, and then comes the Shabbat. Oh, now we're talking. And the most important day of the weekdays, Friday itself, Erev Shabbat. And I mentioned once, I think maybe even right here for Chazaq, maybe even here in Beit Gabriel, that in America, we have, thank God, been fairly successful in uplifting the Shabbat big time. Believe me, right here in Queens in the 1950s, which I remember, and I lived in Queens in the 1950s, I just didn't have a white beard yet, or any beard, in fact. Shabbat was very weak, and it has picked up, and Baruch Hashem, it's more and more people are closer and better in observance. But Erev Shabbat, the Friday, we're still not really there. If you're in Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim, hours before Shabbos, you can feel already the quietness settling in, and the Shabbat is coming. Here, we're still, running from the subway at 10 minutes before the candle lighting, and in the house, and putting up and doing, and it's sometimes we haven't yet gotten. And there are some who do, but a lot of people haven't got. Erev Shabbat, that Friday, that preparation time, that's very important. That does it. They say that there was a famous rabbi whose name was Rabbi Chaim of Chernovitz. He lived 250 years ago. Chernovitz is in a place in Europe called Bukovina, I think it is. I don't know exactly where that is, but Putin knows where it is. He knows where everything is. It's somewhere near the Ukraine. I'm not sure exactly. And Rabbi Chaim Chernovitz lived 200 years ago, and he was known as a very holy rabbi. And he was especially known that on Shabbat, it was his special day. The story goes as follows. There was a horse fair in Leipzig, Germany. Leipzig is some city in Germany, and a horse fair is what they used to have in those days. I guess the closest thing we have to it is like the auto show in the Javits Center, or the boat show in the Javits Center. They would have the horse fair in the Leipzig marketplace. And all the horse dealers would get together and sell horses and buy horses and this. And there was a famous Jewish horse dealer there, we'll call him Moshe. Moshe was all day busy selling his horses and doing and buying and training horses. And one time during the fair, Rabbi Chaim of Chernovitz came to the horse fair. And Moshe, the horse dealer, sees him and looks at him and he's sizing him up and he says, he can't be a horse dealer. Look at him. He looks like a holy rabbi. And he says to his friend, who is he? And his friend said, that's Rabbi Chaim of Chernovitz. He's here for horses? No. He's probably here to collect money for a poor bride. He's always busy collecting money for a poor bride who can't get married. Yeah, he looks so holy. His friend says to him, you think he looks holy now? You should see him on Shabbat. Oh, he's a different person. Really? I got to get to know him. Moshe, the horse dealer, goes up to Rabbi Chaim of Chernovitz and he says to him, Rabbi, what are you doing here? Can I help you? And Rabbi Chaim of Chernovitz says to him, well, I'm here to collect money for a poor bride. How much do you need? I need about 1,500 rubles. You need 1,500 rubles? How much have you collected so far? 46 rubles. Oh, you got a long way to go, Rabbi. Tell you what, I'll give you the whole 1,500 rubles if you grant me my wish. What's your wish? No. First we make the deal that I'll give you the money and you'll tell me you'll grant me my wish and then I'll tell you what it is. Reb Chaim says, I can't make such a deal. What if you say I should make you fly to the moon? What? I understand. If you can't do it, you can't. But if you can, Reb Chaim doesn't like this kind of deal, but what can he do? He needs the money for the poor bride. He has to do something, so he says, okay, shake, deal, absolute, yes. Here's the 1,500 rubles. Now, my wish. My wish is that I should feel the holy Shabbos the way you feel it, Rabbi Chaim. And Rabbi Chaim Chernovitz turns and looks at him and says, it's not for you. It's not for you. It's not good for you. Rabbi, we have a deal, no? Okay. But be aware that on Thursday at noon, you close your business and go home. Why, Rabbi? You'll see. Comes Thursday, Moshe tells his horse workers there, put away the horses in the stall, in the barns. I got to go home for Shabbat. You got to go home for Shabbat? What are you talking about? It's Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, but I got to get a little ready. They couldn't understand it. This is a guy who used to be, his horse business was open till 5 minutes before candlelighting time. All of a sudden, he's closing on Thursday. All right, what got into him? Who knows? He comes home. His wife says, Moshe, what are you doing home? What am I doing home? I came home to get ready for Shabbat. What? It's Thursday. Yeah, but Thursday's right before Friday, and Friday is the day before Shabbat, right? Well, you feel okay? Yeah, I feel fine. Yeah. And, yeah. He doesn't know what to do. He takes out a Tehillim. He starts saying Tehillim. He starts getting excited about Tehillim. He starts getting excited. He's thinking it's going to be Shabbat. He should really get ready. And he starts feeling that, this Shabbat is coming. And he's starting to get happy about thinking about Shabbat. Thursday night, he couldn't sleep because he was getting all excited. Shabbat. Friday morning, he went to the shul. He was screaming the davening. He was all excited. He was giving a lot of tzedakah. He was saying the parsha. He was doing everything he could to Elim. He was studying. He was dancing. Friday afternoon, time he came. Make a long story short, Friday night, he couldn't even hold a cup of wine. He was just shaking. In fact, his son, who was a nice religious yeshiva boy, kept seeing the wine spilling out, and he kept on adding more wine. He should have the shiur, have enough wine in his cup. And he couldn't sleep a whole Friday night, a whole Shabbos. To make a long story short, he couldn't even sleep Motzei Shabbos, after Shabbos. Finally, Monday afternoon, it wore off. And this great giant adrenaline high that he had for the whole weekend from Thursday to Monday wore off. And when that happens, oh boy, did he deflate. And he fell into bed and he couldn't wake up Tuesday morning. He was like a drunk. His wife gave him black coffee, nothing helped. Finally, Wednesday morning, he schlepped himself out of bed. He went to his business. And by now, he already has all kinds of customers waiting for him. And it's late, and he tries to fill the orders, and before he knows it, it's Thursday afternoon again. It's time to close on Thursday again. Again, the same kind of thing. And he closes up, and he goes home, and it's a rerun. This goes on for a few weeks. His business is ruined. His customers are going elsewhere. He doesn't know what to do. What's the end? Here's the problem. I used to know the end of the story. But a few years ago, I heard a new end of the story, so I'm not sure which one is accurate. So I don't know what to tell you. You know what? I'll tell you both endings because I don't know really what happened. One ending that I heard years ago was he went back to Reb Chaim from Chernovitz and he told Reb Chaim, Rebbe, you are right. This is not for me. I can't handle this. And he went back to being what he always was. Moshe the horse dealer, closed his business Friday afternoon at 5 minutes before candle lighting time, came home, sat at his Shabbos table, thinking and talking about horses. Instead of reading the Chumash, he went back to reading Horse Illustrated. And he just was back what he was before, and that was the end. And happy ever after. The new ending that I heard a few years ago was he said, you know what, if I have this tremendous blessing of having the Shabbat in such a holy way, maybe if I lift up my weekdays to a higher level and I make myself different and I pick up my actions in the weekdays, then maybe I can match the Shabbat and I'll be really like Rabbi Chaim. And he did it and he became a holy tzaddik. Now I have news for you. You're thinking it's a nice story, but it has nothing to do with us, with me. What's with us? We can be so different on Shabbat. We can make Shabbat so high. Impossible. I will prove to you that it's not so. Prove it from a halacha, not from a story, from a halacha, a Jewish law. The Jewish law is, if you have a chatan and a kala, a bride and a groom, and they get married, for 1 week they make sheva brachot, 7 blessings every night when they have a minyan, every meal, at the wedding itself, the next night, including Friday night and Shabbos, whenever there's a minyan, a whole minyan at the meal, they say the special sheva brachot, 7 blessings after the Birkat HaMazon, the benching. Only one thing you need. You always need what's called a panim chadashot, a new face. That means somebody who wasn't there at any previous Sheva Brachot. The people who were there at the wedding and they participated in the Sheva Brachot at the wedding, that's fine, they can participate again, but you can't have only them, you have to have some new person. It's called Ponim Chadosha, it's a new face. Every night, Monday night, Tuesday, whatever it is. Except Friday night, except Shabbat. Shabbat you don't need Ponim Chadoshot. So everybody says, why not? People say, well, Shabbos itself is the Panim Chadashot. V'chi Shabbos Gavrahu? Shabbos is a face? Shabbos is a person? The answer is, we have Panim Chadashot. Every single person has a different face, is a new face, is a brighter face on Friday night than they were on Thursday night. It's not we don't need Panim Chadashot. We have it automatically. It's a different person sitting there Friday night than Thursday night. And if you think I'm joking you, I'm not. And you even say it yourself. Everybody takes the Siddur Friday night and they sing L'cha Dodi and they say Hashem, L'cha Dodi Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat Nikabela. Translate those words. Pnei, the face of, Shabbos Nikabla. Our Shabbos face, give us. It's fully within everybody's capability to have that Shabbos face and to elevate ourselves, each one according to our level. Now, this isn't elementary level. This isn't just, oh, I'm relaxed, I'm playing dead. That's great. This isn't just refocusing. This is Shabbat on our level that we're capable of reaching. I'm going to conclude with one more story, and it's a personal story. Those of you who know me from past times know that besides speaking with regular audiences, I also do a lot of speaking for Kiruv organizations, for organizations that do Kiruv, that try to bring not religious Jews back to Torah and mitzvot. And very often I'm asked by people, what should they start with? And I'll always say, generally, why don't you start with Shabbat? Oh, we're going to observe Shabbat? I didn't say you should observe Shabbat. I said start with Shabbat. That means, why don't we start with the woman of the house lighting the Shabbos candles? Candle lighting time is published whenever it is. It's 4:15, it's 5:15, it's 8:15, whatever it is. Come home, light the candles. And then we'll add on to that. We'll add on to that a Friday night meal with a kiddush. We'll start with, well, you know what, don't answer the phone and don't go shopping Friday night. Then we'll add on a little bit for Shabbat morning, and eventually, build slowly into a very nice observance and a real Shabbos. And somebody tells me, okay, that's fine now. This time of the year I could do it. Candle lighting time is already after 8 p.m. Daylight savings time. No problem. But in the winter, what am I going to do? In the winter, in the Eastern time, in November and December, candle lighting time in New York is going to be, 4:12 or something, 4:15. How's that going to work? I can't. I work till 5. So you know what I usually tell them? Listen, there's usually a way. Speak to your boss. You can make up the time. Maybe Friday morning, instead of coming in at 9, you can come in at 7:30. Maybe you could work an extra hour on Thursday evening or Wednesday evening. You maybe arrange the time. So you'll be able to leave on Friday a little bit earlier, 2-3 hours earlier, by putting in the time earlier in the week. A lot of jobs are pretty flexible with that. You should be able to do it. And if they tell me it's hard, I say, I encourage them. Oh, you could. That's the background. Now this is what happened to me. I mentioned in my spare time, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I have a regular job in computer programming. The company moved not too long ago from Manhattan to Jersey City. And everything's fine. I'm in the same job for many years. And my boss always has a group meeting every week, Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. Fine. One day I got an email. The group meeting has now been moved. No longer Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. The group meeting is now Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. I look at this email, and in Yiddish it's called "Es vet mir nicht git." I don't feel so good. What am I going to do? Friday, 2 p.m.? Now, it happened to have been about this time of the year, so the candle lighting, the lichtbenchen, the adlakat nerot is not till 8 o'clock. And even if I make an early Shabbos, it's 7 o'clock. 2 p.m., I'm figuring out 2 p.m. means I can't go home anymore on the 12:43 train. I was going home every Friday from Hoboken to Muncie, Hoboken to Spring Valley, actually, on the 12:43 train. Leaves Hoboken 12:43, gets to Spring Valley at 5 to 2. I have my car parked there, and I'm going to go home. Now the meeting's at 2 o'clock. What am I going to do? I look up the train schedule. Oh, boy, the meeting's going to end at 3. I'll get to the train station at 3, this and this. It's only locals at that time. I'm going to get to Muncie at 5 o'clock. How's this going to work? I mean, this time of the year, maybe I can at 5. It's early Shabbos at 7. What's going to be in the winter? This is, what am I going to do here? I email my boss and I say, it's very hard. 2 p.m. on Friday. He says, what's the problem? Sunset is 8 o'clock or something. I say to him, Rocco. That's his name. And you understand, he's not in the Bukharian or the Ashkenazi shul. I say to him, Rocco, it's very, I can't, come on, you shouldn't have any problem with this. I go back, I'm sitting there, what am I going to do? And I say to myself, well, what are you going to do? You, Eliyahu Bergstein, tell all the potential Baal Tshuvas, all the potential people that you're trying to convince to become religious, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. You can go home early, you can make Shabbos early. What about you yourself? And I decided, you know what? I'm going home on my regular train, 12:43. And I'll call in to the meeting, because the meeting also has a conference dial-in number. You're not in the conference room. If you're home for whatever reason or working remote, you call in to the conference line. It's not high-tech today. Everybody has it. I go. I pack my things. I go to the station. I get on the 12:43. I show up in Spring Valley at 1:55. I get in my car. I take out my cell phone. I call into the meeting. And Rocco says to me, where are you? And I say, I'm in Spring Valley. I had to go home Friday. He doesn't say anything. There's a whole group there of people, and people on the line, and people in person. He doesn't say anything, everybody's listening, and he doesn't pursue this. Okay, goes by Shabbos. I listened in on the meeting, everything. I went home, goes by Shabbos. Monday morning, I get a call, Rocco, come into my office. I'm thinking to myself, I'm in the company already over 20 years. Maybe they'll have to give me a pension or a severance even if they fire me, right? This is bad. I go in. And Rocco says to me, I see that you're having a hard time with Friday. I think from now on, you should work from home on Fridays. Wow. Now, this isn't any kind of great Kabbalistic miracle story, but this has really happened. And this is real. And I work from home on Fridays. This isn't about me. This is about Shabbos. This is about Hashem. This is about us. This is about where we are. This is about where we're going. And Shabbos is the key to the Judaism. And Shabbos is something that not only can be observed, but it can be developed and enriched and made higher and higher and higher and higher. And the Olam Haba, the future world of unimaginable wonderfulness, is called Yom Shekulo Shabbos, a day that is fully Shabbos. So when we want to talk about the absolute ultimate that's beyond our current imagination, we use that word Shabbos. As much as we can get out of it, that's our privilege. It's not a chov, it's not a burden, it's a zechut, it's a merit. And if we develop this the way it's supposed to be, it can take us to such high places that it's unimaginable. Since we're here for Chazaq, we can end with those words. Chazaq, Chazaq, v'nis chazek. We should strengthen ourselves higher and higher in Shabbos. Hashem will help us, and it'll be with simcha and enjoyment until the ultimate Shabbos. Thanks everybody for coming, and Mirz Hashem, it's going to be on Chazaq Radio. Mirz Hashem, we'll see each other at other Chazaq events. And to Chazaq I say thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me the privilege to be here. And Chazaq should keep on expanding and become stronger and stronger all the time in all their programs and endeavors. Kol Tov. Thank you.